and then go back to the comfort level and stay there. So it's easier to not do that, because it takes work. I mean, it takes work to do a budget. It takes a lot of work. It's just not.
That's what I was gonna say. The wrapping your head around doing that as an exercise is the key, really.
Yeah, but it's not because it's, calculus. I mean, I have no desire to sit down and try to figure out how to do a calculus problem. That's just not something, that's not something most people are gonna have fun sitting down and trying to figure out how to do, or even know how to do. Never mind have fun, just knowing how to do it, right? Are you able to sit down, if I give you a formula, sit down and calculate it now?
Good morning. Robert Kenneth Morillo here, broker associate with Compass Florida, license number BK3373543. Another episode of the DM with John. What's going on?
Good morning, John Sepulveda, MLS 1309244. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Episode 23.
We're rolling.
The grand finale of season 1.
We're rolling. That's right. This is the finale of season 1. Yes.
You're out of here tomorrow, man.
End of season 1. There you go. Like Yellowstone, we're gonna have a mid-season break.
Right. Are you excited about your trip?
I actually really am. I'm really excited. Yeah. Let's see. I haven't been home in 12 years.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I'm excited for you, man. I watch Encanto so much. I feel like I'm Colombian too.
You're gonna have some Colombian food too.
Yeah.
So you can try it out.
Right, so you're gonna be out there for 2 weeks. And the countdown continues to May 10th.
Yes, sir. The market is it's kind of slow.
We've got about 21 days now, right?
Just about, yeah. I mean, there's still a lot of choppiness left in the market.
Okay.
It's kind of slow week, like nothing too crazy this week. Builder data, housing data is kind of what was prevalent. We got yesterday the NHAB housing index or housing survey, and housing starts, where single family I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about multifamily. Single family rose 3% last month, but they're down 28% year over year. So supply is still tight. The household formation data, there's data through December. We've been talking about household formation, the new households that are formed. The expected household formation is just a little bit over 2 million for this year.
Okay, and this information is being provided by the National Association of Builders, of Home Builders?
No. That's I got that from MBS Highway. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I don't remember the chart exactly where the chart came from. It came through. It was through December data. So the Q1 will be out in a couple of weeks. But through December, just a little bit over 2 million household formations expected. So those are homes that need to be sort of, new households, and the annualized pace of starts 861,000 is the pace. So with March's starts, 861,000 is the housing starts that they did, right? And the housing starts just means to start building it.
Permits
doesn't really mean anything. Yeah. No, permits are another indication, and completions obviously are completed. So the starts are, the numbers are, and the permits are down. The permits are up 4% last month, so 30% year over year. They're down. So no matter how you look at it, there's builders are not building enough housing to even keep up with regular housing.
The demand.
Never mind the yearly demand that's there from people moving, from downsizing and all the other stuff that's happening. So
Yeah,
in the short term, that means, or for the rest of this year, what that means is that there's just housing, as we've been talking about, this is not new. There's a shortage of housing, there's a shortage of inventory, supply and demand. If there's a lot of supply and a big demand or no demand, obviously that has to do with prices go down. If there's little supply and a high demand, prices will go up. So there's a lot of pressure on prices to continue to rise, and there's not really nothing that is indicating that it's going to help those prices go down. You know, as we've talked about before, in 2008, there was the excess of housing that was in inventory. 4 million homes were on the market.
yeah.
As we've seen the charts and we talked about it. So obviously we're nowhere near those numbers now, but the demand is still there. Demand hasn't really gone away. So it's fluid, it's moving. Data continues to kind of point towards recession. Credit, debt keeps on going up. There's some data that came out with car payments. Average car payment in America is $800, which is kind of it's not a true number. It's kind of a fuzzy math, because it's average car payment's $800, but that's in a 6-year loan, because that's kind of the average now. They're no longer 5. So if they were really 5, they were closer to $1,000 a month on monthly payments and car payments. So car payments out of control. Credit card debt is out of control, meaning people are using their credit cards or having to use their credit cards more. So credit card balance is increasing to pre-pandemic levels. Rents are new rents are going down.
Are they really?
Yeah, the Core Logic report. Let's see. Rents are up 5% year over year, down from 5% in the previous report. So they're going down slightly. It's going down. I mean, we've seen that.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, let's be real. The same way homeowners have been unrealistic in their pricing, right, coming onto the market, landlords have been unrealistic too. They've been stretching because they were pushing rents really high. I mean, I've heard of tenants telling me, hey, my landlord's raising the rent $500. Like that's a lot.
100%.
That's a lot. To go from 1 year to the next.
Yeah. And it doesn't go down. I mean, we've said this before. Like, I've never heard of anybody ever saying my landlord reduced my rent this year. I'm paying lower rent. It just doesn't happen. They don't raise the rent. You're lucky. They don't reduce it. So that's just what you get for paying rent. I mean, you're putting money in other people's pockets.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's unfortunate, all the negative stuff out there, all the stuff that's out there that kind of scares people from buying a home. You know, and people don't really kind of look at numbers and do the math, right? And it's you know, and it is. I mean, it is expensive to own home. Unfortunately, it's not affordable. It's just with all the insanity and the pricing and the rates and the additional costs. That's just, you know, insurance is going up. I mean, just everything. There's just a lot of pressure on people, right? When they're trying to do this transaction, especially if their credit is not, you know, when you start looking at like mortgage insurance and a conventional loan, you know what I mean? Just if you start adding up all the, you know, if you have a 670 credit score, you know, your mortgage insurance, it's going to be, you know, you're buying a house in this, you know, sort of 450 anyway, 400 plus, you know, your MI is going to be over $300 a month if you're not putting 20% down.
Yeah.
Your MI mortgage insurance. So, you know, you add the mortgage insurance, plus you add the property taxes, plus you add you add the higher homeowners insurance, plus you add the high mortgage with the higher home prices. It's just insane, people to afford a home. Then you add on top of that, the average car payment's $800 a month. How many cars does a married couple have?
2, sometimes 3.
Average car payment's $800 a month.
That's $2,400 a month.
Hey, just say two. Don't even say three. Just say two. I mean,
Yeah,
and say
$1,600.
and one is at the average, and one's an old one that they still have that they're still paying $450 a month. Let's not even go crazy and say both of them are it. But in the household, from me looking at credit reports, the average car payment I see in a household is about $1,400.
That's insane.
Insane.
What's
But
going
then,
on?
but then what do you do? But what do you do, right? Like you work, you got to go to work. Can't go in public transportation. I mean, you really can't. You can't say that you rely here in Florida. You cannot say that you can rely on public transportation to go to work. It's just not, the public transportation is just not here. Like they're not up like in like in New York or Boston where there's the subway and all the stuff. And you really, if you live in the city, you do not need a car. It's actually, a car is a nuisance, right? It doesn't help you. It's a nuisance.
It's
So,
a liability, not an asset.
no, it's a nuisance. You can't find a place to park in it. You gotta, it's a pain. It's not even beyond liability, beyond cost. It's a pain. So it's okay, right? But here in Florida, you really can't. So you need to go to work. You need to get a vehicle. Okay, so now you're going to buy a car. Used cars are expensive, almost just as expensive as a new car.
No. I'm gonna tell you, I was irresponsibly on the market for another Toyota Tundra last year. Thank God I didn't get it. But yo, they literally, a brand new Tundra was about 50,000, right? The one that I was looking at. But they were telling me that a used one was coming in before the new one, and they were offering it at 63,000.
and people pay money for it. I'm sure they sold it. I mean, that's insanity. But the thing is, like, I mean, when the pricing of these like these people actually pay for that, right? So, I mean, the market sustains it. You know what I mean? If people, oh my God, there's no car, I need a car, and they're going to go buy a car, and they go crazy with the overpaying. But not only that, the interest rate on a used car is higher. So if the price, say they're not even higher, right? Just say the prices are the same, but they really are. They could be more expensive as you experience on the used car. But even if they were the same price, the car payment on the used car would still be higher because the rates are higher on the used car than on a new car. So the payment will be higher. But when I see credits that the amount of car payments I see are just, it's insane. I mean, you can't get rid of it. But like I was saying, so what do? You got to go to work.
All right, don't get me
started. The old car is, the used car is just as expensive, so it's not a cheaper option, right? Really. Oh, you got to just buy it. What do you do? And they'll tell you, they'll finance the car for you. Now it's a little tougher with the credits getting tighter, but during the pandemic, all you had to do was just fog up a mirror and you got a car loan.
Well, this is the thing. Let's talk about this. Let's shift back to housing, right? People would gladly pay double-digit interest on car payments and credit cards.
Of course.
But they've got such a horrible reaction to paying 7% on a mortgage. Why is that? What is wrong with the human psychology?
Because they've been, well, it's not the human psychology, it's not the marketing. They've been trained by that. So they've been trained to, when you shop for a car loan, you don't ask what the rate is. You go into a car dealership, you sit there for all day for 55 hours while the guy goes up to the desk and talks about what he's having for lunch with the manager, make you think he's going back with a deal, and then comes back on the piece of paper with the price and circles it, and will you sign right now? Will you sign if you do it right now if we meet this price? That's all they do. People don't ask them. Have you ever seen or asked for what the rate is on a financing?
For a vehicle?
Yeah. You yourself, or
me personally, I mean, yeah.
Have you ever said what the rate is?
I mean, recently, yes. I've shopped smarter. I want to say 2020 was the first time when I purchased my Volkswagen Jetta. That was the first time I was rate conscious and making sure that, I stayed within a threshold that was manageable and made sense. Like I was fed up with essentially getting into deals where I'm paying for two vehicles at the end of the day.
All right. I mean, I'm amazed that you actually looked at the, people just, that's how
People
much,
just,
how
no,
much is the
yeah,
monthly payment?
no, for sure.
It's not
People,
how much is the rate. Like, it's just, when they call
I
me,
know, I
then
know.
the
How much
mortgage
is
is
the
like,
monthly payment?
what's the rate? Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, no. Again, that was the first time that I was rate conscious.
yeah.
First time ever
Cause
going into it. But at the time, I was dating this banker.
there you
So
go.
she was kind of like in my head
She
about
was
that.
driving driving the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's, I mean, if you, it's just, I mean, it's not human psychology. It's just, you don't really think about it when you shop. It's really, what is the monthly payment? And the car looks cool. And that's what people do. But housing, not that important.
Mhm.
I don't need housing. It's the largest investment in a lifetime. Because a car is not an investment. A car is a liability. You know, you know, this is a deeper conversation for another day. But there's some people that say that a home is a liability. Like Dave Ramsey says, a homeowner is a liability.
Of course, so does Grant Cardone.
You know, and I mean, I disagree with that.
I don't.
I disagree, and they, you know, they're a lot smarter than I do, and they make a lot more money than I do. But I don't. I think paying rent is a liability, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
Owning a home, owning
I
a home
don't.
is, it can't be a liability if eventually you start owning the home and it becomes an asset. Eventually, it becomes an asset. There's no.
But this is the thing. This is why I don't agree. I don't disagree with them. I do agree with them. This is the reason why. Okay. Let's look at the terms assets and liability, right? If you look at it in the most basic definition of the terms, an asset is supposed to be something that makes you money. Okay. A liability is something that costs you money. Okay.
Correct.
Plus is risky. Now, this is the thing about an asset. Your single family home does not become an asset until you sell it. Therefore, it's not an asset. It is a wealth building opportunity, assuming that the value of the quote unquote asset is appreciating.
Increasing. Yep.
Okay, so the only time it becomes an asset is when you sell or cash out on it, right? At that moment, with that event occurring, only then is it an asset. In the meantime, it's a forced savings account because you're paying it. Yes, you're building equity, of course. That's the main benefit on renting versus owning. However, you have maintenance costs. You have, if there's any damage to it, you have insurance. If somebody falls on your property, you risk getting sued, so on and so forth. So many scenarios that 99.9% of them are never going to happen, right? But it is a liability because it is costing you money. And some homes, let's be real, do have the potential of being money pits, right? With lack of care. Most people can't become homeowners because their mindset is not right. They don't know how to care for a property. That's why landlords have to do so much updating and repairs when in between tenants, right? Even as a landlord, owning single family homes is more of a liability. Oh, well, granted, it is an asset, it is making you money, but the turnover and having to you have to be blessed to have someone coming in who's in a rush and says, you know what, I'll take care of the repairs in between tenants. Like, I'll move in and I'll take care of things. I just need a home that bad, but you're having to dish money out to update the home in between the tenants. A single family home by itself is a liability, in my opinion, moreover than an asset. Because again, an asset, like for instance, a vehicle has the potential to be an asset. You purchase a vehicle that can be placed as a rental on Turo, now it's making you money, right? As long as it's earning you more than it's costing you, it's an asset. It's a cash flowing vehicle.
Yeah, I partially agree with what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Where I disagree is your explanation of the whole process for the homeowner is true, 100% accurate, but I believe it's accurate when you look at it from the point of view of how you finish the example of the investment on the single property, right? As the investor. So if you're an investor, yes, it's an asset. I do disagree where it says that it's only an asset when you sell it. I disagree with that because in 2008, when equity was down, people did not have equity. They owned the home and they didn't have an asset because it was worth less than they had the money. So they didn't sell it, but they didn't have anything. It was worth less than that they owned. Right? In this market we're in currently, people have the equity in their homes and they own the home cash. They haven't sold the home, but they have they know that they have that money. So there's no people are not rushing to foreclose because the rates are high, because people are sitting on equity. They haven't sold it, they haven't realized the gain, but they've sitting on the equity. It's just like, and I'm not a tax guy and I don't really know anything about taxes, but if you own a corporation and you don't, and you unrealized gains means you keep the gains and you keep the gains in the company, but you don't pay taxes because you don't use the money, you keep the money. It's there. So if you're the business owner and you have unrealized gains of $1 million, you know you have $1 million in the bank. They're not realized, so they're not on
you're not tapping into it. You're not.
But you haven't. That's kind of what it is. For me, the difference, the biggest, like the huge difference in the whole equation is that for a car, your example was 100% perfect. It could be, right? It could be an asset but you have to invest. Right? It's an investment. A roof over your head, you have to pay no matter what. I don't think the roof over your head can fit into that equation, into that logic, because you have to pay it. You cannot live I mean, you could live in the street, I guess, but you know what I'm saying? Like you need a roof over your head. So you either rent it or you own it. There's no in between. You don't need to own a car. You could theoretically not own a car. You can ride a bike. I mean, you can skateboard, you can walk. I mean, you don't need to own a car.
So let's be real though, if your job is 30 miles away.
Well, but you don't have to have a job 30 miles away. You can have a job next door to where you live. Like you don't need to have a job 30 miles away. I know people that live and work and they walk to work and they only work because they don't have a car. And they only work where they live.
I know. I could walk to work.
Yeah, I know plenty of people. I know tons of people that don't have a car here in Florida, and they live where they work and they manage. I would never do that, but they do. I mean, but you can't do that with a house. You can't. Oh, I'm going to live, wherever, because you got to pay no matter where you live. You have to pay. So you're either paying rent or you either own or rent. Like there's no other option. So if you look at it in that context, that I'm paying X amount of money, no matter what. Like I was driving the other day before yesterday, sign, on a light, rent 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, $2,500. It's $2,500 for 3 bedroom, 2 bath. I mean, it's not the mortgage payment at current market, at current rates. The mortgage payment will be higher at current market, at current rates, but $2,500 for a rental, that's a lot of money. I mean, that's just
a lot of money.
It's a lot. I mean,
let's do some quick math. 2,500, $5,000. That's
I mean, $2,500 for rent, an average 800 car payment, one car. I mean, that's $3,300 a month. I mean, that's $40,000 a year. I mean, that's That's
30,000 a year on rent.
But plus eight, and I'm saying plus 800 for the car. I'm saying like the rent of the car. That's $30,000 a year. Like car payment and average rent.
That's 40,000. 39,600.
40,000. I mean, that's just 40,000.
I will tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm in the process of buying a house now. This will probably be, mark my words, the only single family house I ever buy in my life. Ever. After this, I'm going full blown multifamily. I promise you.
It's crazy, man.
I'm going full blown multifamily. Everything that I'm putting out there as far as, the 75 rule and, cash flowing multifamily assets, I will never buy a single family home ever again.
That's where it's at. It's just here. It's hard. I mean, here, as we talked about before, it's so hard here because there's not enough out. There's not enough. I mean, the multifamilies, the stuff that's out there, it's just not that, it's just not that good. It's just very little to pick from. So I should get some of your developer investor friends and start building some multifamily, man.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
I'm telling you.
As a matter of fact,
I hope I get some creative invention rights for the idea.
Well, it's already been in the works, but you definitely get the invitation to join us for sure. We'll credit you that way.
I'm serious, man. I mean, it's just obviously that comes a lot. That comes along with there's other stuff, right? As a homeowner, you have to consider other things, right? It's not just perfect and beautiful. I mean, there's location. There's going to be things you have to sacrifice in order to be able to do that. You might for example, like I'll speak for myself, right? Work like school district. Like if to me that was very, very important. The school district, like that drove.
And you chose a great location, by the way.
But it was based on that. It was based purely on schools. I mean, I did a lot of research in schools. He passed away. One of my best friends, he was a school teacher here in Orlando, and he had this report card that he gave. Like I did a lot of research into this thing, like looking at data scores. I did a lot of research, and I picked because of school. And I wasn't just looking at scores I was just looking at everything, like just the overall kind of context. And I did. Luckily, I picked a phenomenal school system. So, but what's the problem? There's not too many. I don't think there's any. I mean, there's a couple of properties that have an in-law apartment, like the garage has an in-law, small, like 1 bedroom or studio type thing. It's not a multifamily. It's a single family with an in-law, which is a different situation. So there's really so if my option was I'm only buying multifamilies, I wouldn't be living here because there's no really multifamilies here. Yeah. So you have to sacrifice, you know what I mean? You have to give up depending, it's not that simple. Here in the north in Massachusetts, a lot easier. You can find a place with a good school system that has multifamilies. So it's a little bit, it might not be close to the school. That might be, you might need to put some money into it to, you know what I mean? There could be, there's a lot, but it's easier. Here you can't just say, I'm only buying a multi, if you're focused on other things like schools and whatever, right? Maybe transportation.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. As a family unit, of course. Yeah, you're gonna be conscious.
Yeah. So people need to kind of understand that. It's just this is not going, multifamily and that's solves our problem.
But back to what you said before, I think you said it last week. I forget which episode it was, but it should be initially your starter home. It should be a multifamily.
100%. 100, unless it's the other way, which is a small condo, a small townhouse. You get that in, you get in, you get it, you know what I mean? And then you switch. You
pivot.
That's also an option if you go in with the low cost entry into it. That's because you can get a condo for what's a condo? Give me a number on a condo now here in Orlando.
Like you can find condos under 200,000 here in Central Florida.
There you go. Warrantable? Give me a warrantable condo.
Yeah, you can. It's very difficult to locate, but it is possible.
So 250. You can find a condo for 250 or a townhouse.
I mean, we're under contract for 140 right now. 149.
Is it warrantable?
Yeah, it's warrantable.
There you go. I mean, that's just You can't, I mean, you cannot beat that. You can, I mean, you can't beat that. That's just not, and I'm sure no matter what what are the people gonna pay?
As
No?
far as the payment,
Yeah, any idea?
oh, I didn't get their loan estimate. I'll ask them. I'll ask them.
But I mean, if it's a regular loan, I mean, it can't be,
I mean, it's a conventional loan. We're doing a conventional.
I mean, it's 7%. That 7% is $997 a month, so taxes, insurance, HOA, that's gotta be, I mean, that's not gonna be $2,000 a month. 1,800 a month, 1,700 a month, maybe.
More or less. The HOA is high. It's $597 a month.
Well, but still, I mean, so 1,500, that's 1,500, but you got property taxes and homeowners insurance, it won't be 2,000.
Yeah, yeah.
1,800,
Less than
1,900.
2,000.
1,800, $1,900, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many bedrooms?
It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
I mean, that or pay a rent. I mean, you're not gonna find a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. You're not gonna find for less than $2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You're really not.
And the reason why we got under contract at that price, I ran the numbers. Those properties are worth between 189 and 199. But it's one of those units that's in a less preferred condition. Needs work, mostly cosmetic.
But they'll be paying if they go rent that unit or a similar unit, they're gonna be paying $2,000 a month. And they'll be able to get in there.
They're not buying it to move into it. This is they're using it for a midterm rental.
Okay, so it's an investment. But
Yeah.
let's just take the same scenario, right? Same unit, not the buyers, right? You take that unit for somebody who's paying rent, and there is no way that we sit down and do the math, every single possible angle that you can come up. I'm sure you can do the math and you will see positive no matter under any scenario for the person buying that condo. That's buying that condo. Like in their lifetime, if they were, again, assuming it's an owner occupied, someone who's going to live in the home. If they compare what they're paying, what they would pay, even at these, at 7% rates versus renting, they're going to be year after year, they'll be on the positive with that unit.
Yeah, I can see that. I think we just did the inspection yesterday. We're negotiating on some items today. So assuming they keep it and go through with it, I think it's going to be a great investment for them. It's going to pan out.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, right? It's like everything, right? That's when you do the math, it's really those homes are the ones that are a better investment long term, right? It's when you go buy into the luxury homes and you pay, right? That's where it becomes a liability. Maybe I'll modify my definition. I think that when you buy the home as when you do not own a home, right? When you're comparing renting versus owning, no matter what you rent, what you own, if it's not a luxury sort of living situation, it's that home ownership is always going to be, it's an asset. Because if you look at if you put the perspective of you have to pay rent no matter what, and rent is never an asset because it's other people's money. So home ownership, it's always going to be an asset that way. If you look at it that way, comparing once you either have to rent, you don't own anything. If you look at it, you already own, the only way is you already own, right? You can't have that comparison, or you get to live at home for free forever, which it's not really, with your parents, you never move out. I guess you could do that. But if you form a household, you either need to rent or own. So if you're in that situation, I think home ownership, it's not a liability, will be an asset, whether it's small or, but it's still be an asset. But if you already own a home and you get into the more expensive or the move up homes type of situation, then it becomes a liability because now, if you're already in a home, but now you're going to get into something more expensive that's going to cost you more, then it's not so much an asset anymore. You follow me? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes plenty of sense.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just everybody's situation is always different, right? We always kind of say that, and it's not a blanket, everybody buy, everybody. But in general, I think that even in these crazy rates that we're in, this crazy environment that we're seeing, at the end of the day, it might not be, after the month one, you're making money on it, but certainly at month 14 forward, comparing the both, you might, you'll see the curve just kind of jump up for home ownership and be in a better option. Or the same way, the rental cost shoots up for the people that do not buy, that choose to go and pay rent.
It just blows my mind when people find themselves, lease end is coming up. The landlord's increasing the rent. It's now become unaffordable. Everything else that I'm looking at that I need is way out of my price range. So my options are to pay a lesser rent in a unit that doesn't meet my needs, or go apply for a mortgage. And then they choose to disregard the application for the mortgage, and they choose the lesser unit, the unit that does not meet their family's needs. And that's the part that blows my mind.
What blows my mind is that I think there's more people that are forced to do that, to take the lesser option, right? That doesn't meet their needs. They're forced into it because they're not in a position to buy. I think that's more prevalent. They're forced into those situations rather than they choose to go down those situations. I think for the most because of the people's situation, the credit or the amount of debt, and they don't qualify for a higher amount of mortgage. You can unfortunately,
sometimes it is ignorance. They choose not to. It's too complicated. They don't know. They don't have the information.
Correct. Yeah, and I don't think it's purpose. Like people that do it on purpose, they don't,
Yeah, they just don't know.
They don't know, and they don't. Back to we've been, the financial education. I mean, it's just, but it's hard though. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how hard it is to get people to take action. Like it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's incredible how hard it is to get people to take action. Like for free, like not like I've offered to give people that personalized financial plan. Actually, not. Let me rephrase that. I've given it. It's a link. Just here's the link and fill it out. Like here's the link. I've given it to, I don't even know how many people I've given it to. I've given it to. I've actually sent the link out to. 15 people.
And of those 15, how many took action?
2.
Okay, so.
And actually, yeah, 2.
That's 13%.
That's actually high. If you look at it, 13%. I mean, it's insane. It's free. Like it does. I give here. Just do it free. Just do it. This will help you. Like this. If you follow this will help you. Like it literally will tell you what you have. And it'll give you a plan. I'll get to it. It's just, I mean, people don't. What people. That you walk away from. You take action, moving away from pain. Or you take action moving towards pleasure. And for the most part, people move towards pleasure all the time. Unless when the pain is just so unbearable, oh my God, and then that's when they act and they move and they step away from the pain and then go back to the comfort level and stay there. So it's easier to not do that because it takes work. I mean, it takes work to do a budget. It takes a lot of work. It's just not.
That's what I was gonna say. The wrapping your head around doing that as an exercise is the key, really.
Yeah, but it's not because it's calculus. I mean, I have no desire to sit down and try to figure out how to do a calculus problem. That's just not something, you know, that's not something most people are gonna have fun sitting down and trying to figure out how to do, or even know how to do. Never mind have fun, just knowing how to do it, right? Are you able to sit down, if I give you a formula, sit down and calculate it now? A
I
calculus
mean,
formula?
no, I probably wouldn't be able to figure it out. I can't say that I would, but I mean, most people don't know how to process information.
But
So
but what I understand, but what I'm saying is there's two types of information, right? It's right now, if you say to me, John, I'll give you $1 million to solve this calculus problem, I'm out $1 million. I'm not solving it. I mean, I was an engineering student in college, my first year in college. I don't remember.
I mean,
I have no idea.
I'm gonna figure out $1 million. I'm gonna figure out I'm gonna figure out how to solve that problem.
Right? But this, by the same concept as, you know, do a budget, which it takes there's no formula, there's no calculus. You just literally, it's data entry because you put it on there's so many platforms and applications and systems, and there's so many things already done that you don't have to, that are free. You don't have to spend any money. All you need to do is literally just put the amount of money you're spending in the category. That's it. And it does everything for you. Right. So that's very simple to do. It's just work. So it's not because it's hard to do, or it's because people don't have the time to do it. It's because it's a difficult task to take on, because it takes work and you gotta work on it. But it's not like you're doing a calculus, you know, problem that you need to do the formula and you need to do all this, you know, the symbols and the like square root of pi and you know what I mean? Like there's all these you know, these things that are added for an engineer to do on a problem. A budget is just you put in how much, you know, 2,000 for rent, you know, 800 for car payment, 3,000 for gas. I mean, you know, you just put how much you're spending a month and you add. And like I said, the application does it for you. You don't even need to do the math yourself. So the process of doing it is it's not complicated. Anybody can do it. It's just that the actual task of doing it, it's overwhelming. I mean, it's just yesterday at the you know, meeting, one of the workshops yesterday, you know, the guy was talking about the CRM and, you know, and how, you know, what, you know, agents every year, you know, January 1st, the CRM, I'm going to work on my CRM. And, you know, people are overwhelmed because it's an overwhelming thing, right?
It's a huge thing because
I mean,
the tool is so powerful, but to learn how to use it, so the application of it is different.
But how hard is it to input the name, but first name, last name, email, phone number, and a tag when you first get the lead?
It's challenging, but it's not.
No, but I'm saying, I'm saying,
it's not
first name, last name, email address, maybe address, phone number, and a tag, or two or three, right? New lead, hot lead, cold lead, you know, whatever, right? You put some tags on it. That's literally all it takes to actually put a name on a CRM. Like that's all.
Literally,
That's all it takes. To do a budget, it's a little bit different, right? Because especially if you don't really know what you're spending, right? You got to start by first like writing down and getting all of the receipts of every, like to the penny of what you spend in order to be able to do it properly. That alone, it's people are like, oh, just thinking about that, like start, because they don't know a number. They can't just like, oh yeah, you know, you got to start saving receipts. You got to start adding up. You got to start looking. It takes work to do, and unfortunately, most people don't want to do the work. They want it done for you. But in your finances, you can't have it done for you because nobody can do your finances. Only you can do it, and nobody has the same finances, right? It's like a digital, like a you know, fingerprint. It's, you know, it's unique, right? Everybody has you have a fingerprint, I have a fingerprint, but we don't have the same fingerprint. Your credit score is different than my credit score. And even if by chance your score was the same as mine, if you had a 700 score and I have a 700 score, it's not possible. I mean, I guess it is possible, but it doesn't happen that you would have exactly the same trade lines that I have, and you would pay and do everything exactly the same way I do, and that's how we have the same 700 credit score. It doesn't work that way, you know. You might have 4 credit cards and no balance on it. I might have 1 credit card with a $300 balance on it and 3 with no balance on it. I don't know. I'm making up stuff as I go, but you see that what I'm saying is you just cannot have 2 people with the same credits.
Yeah.
So your criteria for you and I cannot have the same criteria to determine to buy a home just by calling and saying, what's the rate?
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, it's like you said, the rate is the rate. You know, it's funny, yesterday I posted something on Instagram. I shared something on my story that yo, I have to send it to you because it's literally synonymous to what you said about that. The rate is the rate. You're just gonna, this lady and her husband, she did mortgages too. This was back in like 1981. And they had lived like an hour away from the downtown area. I think this may have been in Canada, and they decided to sell and move into the downtown area, even though the rates were higher. And she was like, at this time, the rates were like 15%. And she was like, listen, the rate is the rate. Like, there's no changing that. What are you gonna do? Not pay for housing? I'm gonna send it to you. I got the phones in the other room, but I'm gonna send it to you.
I mean, and that's how it is. I mean, it's just, it's the rate. I mean, I don't like it. Okay, pay rent. I mean, it's just, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Pay cash. I mean, oh, I don't have cash. Well, there's the rate. I mean, there's no in between. I mean, it is what it is, and you have to deal with it. You can't stop buying a house just because the rate goes up. Just like we kind of started the conversation, right? People, for the most part, do not buy the car because the rate's too high. At the end of the day, they don't really care about the rate. They just care about the monthly payment. They just care about the payment, so much so that the rates are high, and now they're increasing, the dealers and the banks are increasing the term, the length of the term. So you pay longer, so your payment can be lower, and you quote unquote can afford it. You really can't afford it. It's just that you see the lower monthly payment, and okay, I can make the payment. And that's how, unfortunately, that's how most people kind of make those decisions. Sometimes you can't. I mean, it is what it is. You got to buy a car. You need a car. I mean, sometimes, but do you need the brand new car? Can you use a used car? But then again, you were going to pay more money for a used car than for the new car. So it's really not, new or used doesn't really mean anything. It's just how much of a piece of junk are you willing to buy, right? Because that's another thing with cars. Like nobody realizes how bad a car is, or not bad. Nobody realizes what's wrong with the car until you take it home, until you're driving it. And then you realize,
that's the used car syndrome.
Like,
everything, it's perfect. It's got everything that I need. You take it home, then you start noticing
this thing. Man, I mean, that's what happens. You know, it's just, you know, our brains, the way you know, people's brain operate is it's funny. I mean, but that's what we do. But yet on a house, what's the rate? Oh, that's too high. And they don't even do the math. They just, no, that's too high. Okay. Do you still hear people saying, I'm waiting for the crash?
Oh, of course. Did you see the comedian? He put out that rap song?
No.
No, he put out this rap song.
What comedian?
Some comedian I think he's out of Boston, in fact. I forget his name. I don't even know his name, but hilarious. He put out this song. Hold on, I have it here. I'm gonna share my screen. I have to. His name is Eric D'Alessandro. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna share my screen with you. You gotta see this.
Yeah, definitely from Boston.
You can see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. Can you hear it?
No.
Oh, hold on. Oh, okay, hold on.
They want $1 million for what?
No, I
It's
can
a
hear
lot of work. I don't even have a
All right, hold on. This is a good way to end the episode.
End the episode, yeah.
gonna start. I'm on Zillow worrying about my heart. Interest rates climbing the charts. I'ma stay on $1 million for what? It needs a lot of work and it don't even have a backyard. Out of a garage, neighborhoods are lacking, nobody's packing. 750 for a ranch, 50K above asking. How this happened? Thought we had it. Shit is savage. I'm about to end on marriage. My wife wants a dead end where good schools are vetted and AD aesthetic. Forget it. Need to Starbucks, a home is a target. A nail salon, what they do, I about dread it. Forever bugging. Girl don't understand the budget. That's our best and final lying budget. I wasn't bluffing. Call the real to tell me something. Sick of open houses. Fuck these little muffins. What listed yesterday is already pending a soul. Thought I told you we don't want to live on Army Road. Think about the traffic, the noise, been the massive annoyance. I'm trying to find a spot if you come over. Now I'm getting lectured by my father. He forgets his down payment was $1. Fenton don't even make me feel better. Fuck it. I guess we'll just rent forever. Yeah. Guess we'll just rent forever.
So while you were doing this, you gotta send me that. Send me that thing. I think it's funny.
Collapse, really gonna start.
That is too funny.
Yeah, hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that for sale sign said sold while you were
While you were doing this, yeah.
Do you know how many, especially during the pandemic, how many homes me and buyers walked into when I called the agent? Oh, we just went under contract. Super crazy.
It was like I mean, it was like people would just like it was, there's not gonna be like the world is gonna be dead. Like there's no housing. I need to buy a house. I mean, I need to buy a house. Insane.
Mm-hmm.
Especially from out of state. Like I saw that people coming from out of state. That pushed it for like that drove the insanity further.
Yeah, people buying sight unseen, paying 30, 40, 50,000 over asking price. Think about it. They just sold their a home up north, probably for $1 million. And I can get a whole home. I can get a single family house with a yard and all and a pool, 500,000. Oh, they're talking about multiple offers. All right, give them 550.
Yeah.
Give
I
them
need to move.
550.
I'm sick of snow. I need to move. Boom, do it.
Make it happen.
And unfortunately,
I want to be closed by the time I get down there.
Unfortunately, the locals, I don't want to get hurt because they're not selling the house for $1 million. They're just buying it for a home.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. All right, man.
I'm sending you that video on Instagram now.
All right, yeah, and I'll check out so I can hear the lyrics properly.
Yeah.
It looks funny though.
No, hilarious. I thought he was a realtor. I showed that to my god brother. He thought he was a rapper. Turns out he's a comedian.
He's just a guy trying to, get views on TikTok.
Right.
Get views on InstaFace, as Bill Belichick would say.
Right. All right, Robert Kenneth Morillo, broker associate with Compass, Florida, license number BK3373543. Signing off on the DM. Let them know, John.
John Sepulveda, MLS 1309244. Thank you for listening. We'll be back. Talk to you guys in a couple of weeks. So you hold the fort, man.
Enjoy yourself in Colombia, my man.
I will do my best.
All righty then.
See you later.